Yeah, we still have confidence in our ability. I mean, we watched some of the old film of the games that we won this past year and the plays that were made in those games, and we were, Coach Trestman showed us that, and we were just saying, look, the same guys that made those plays are still in the locker room. We can still go out there and do this. So.
Hello, everybody, and you're listening to the Bears Cast with myself, Ethan Cowgill, and my co-host Andrew McCulloch. How you doing, Andrew?
I've been better. I'm a little under the weather, but we're gonna ride through it today.
Yeah, and you know what? We can't attribute poor feelings to the Bears this week because they won. So that's a great positive. That's great. As always, the Bears Cast is broadcasting here at the North Campus from Quincy University in the basement. And we're going to be recapping Chicago Bears football, talking about the week that was. Going to be talking about the week that will be as well. And just sit back for the next 30 minutes. Let's get into this Bears coverage. So as we alluded to earlier, the Bears, they finally get a win. They snap their 3-game losing streak, get their first win at home. At Soldier Field, they beat Minnesota 21-13. Tell me what you thought about this game.
Well, la-dee-da. We beat the Minnesota Vikings. And you know what? We both thought that we weren't going to beat the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know if it was more because we were hoping that we would keep losing, so things would get worse and we would fire our coach, or just because we were so depressed as Bears fans. But, I mean, we were down 10-0 to start the game. Excuse me. We were down 10-0 to start the game. And you know what? I sure as heck thought, here we go again, about to lose another football game at home. I don't know about you, though.
No, I was concerned when I saw 10-0, and I thought, yeah, exactly, it's the same old. But after Minnesota went up 10-0, the Bears responded, I thought, really well.
They did. They responded well, and they should have, because we had matchup nightmares on offense against Minnesota. Pretty much at every position, Minnesota's corners could not hang with our receivers. It was nice to see Marquise Wilson back. Before the season started in training camp, it sounded like he was going to be our solid, for sure, number 3 wideout before he broke his collarbone.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have him back. It was nice to see Brandon and Alshon play well again. It seemed like they were rejuvenated. Forte played well, and Cutler had a few mistakes, but that's what you're going to get with Jay Cutler. And for the most part, he played well.
Yeah. I agree. And I didn't think that Minnesota could match up with Chicago talent-wise. But as we know, the Bears' problems haven't lied with talent. It's been execution. So it's good to see that they were able to take advantage of the mismatches that, obviously Minnesota can't hang with each player individually on the Bears. Let's kind of go through the game real quickly. Minnesota jumps up to a 10-0 lead, and then the Bears would go on to score 21 straight unanswered points. Jay Cutler to Alshon Jeffrey for 27 yards. Then he's going to hook up with Brandon Marshall for almost 50 yards, and then he's going to connect with Marshall again on a short drive there. And then Minnesota would add on a field goal. 21-13 is your final. The Bears, they go to 4-6. Minnesota drops to 3-7. Or they dropped to 4-6 as well. Sorry about that. So, and then let's kind of go and let's recap how the Bears did individually. Jay Cutler, he did commit some errors, 2 interceptions, but over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. How would you evaluate Cutler's performance from this game overall?
A lot better than the last few weeks he's played. The first interception he threw, I don't really blame him for that, because it was really odd how the Bears were executing their late first-half drive there. We had a chance to put some points on the board, and Trestman calls for a few running plays. He doesn't call time. We have 1 timeout left. He doesn't call a timeout until Forte breaks out a run and gets to about the midfield, and then he lets Jay go loose. But after that, it was kind of too late to get really anything going. So I find that questionable. I don't really blame Cutler for that, and a lot of fans were just very puzzled about that play call, just the play calling in general for the last drive the Bears had in the first half.
Questionable play calling is something that isn't new, though, for the Bears this year. Although one of the bright spots that I've seen, or that I saw from this game, Matt Forte, over 25 carries. I think that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see him get those types of carries.
Exactly what I want to see. I've been calling for it all year. More running, less throwing, and I was happy to see us run the ball more, even after we fell behind 10-0. But I mean, you can account that to also the Bears responding quickly and Jay throwing those 2 touchdown passes to get us back into the lead to Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall, of course.
I think one of the things that we have to talk about is the Bears' defense as well.
Absolutely.
They held them in check. Running game wasn't there for them, under 100 yards in that regard. And Teddy Bridgewater, he couldn't get much going either.
I think it was tied for the least amount of points the Bears have given up under Trestman or something around that area. But it was nice to see the Bears' offense kind of just play young and play with some energy. You saw Jared Allen play with energy. He must have been pretty sparked up for this game. Obviously, it was against his former team in Minnesota, but we saw the Bears get to the quarterback a lot. We saw them put duress under Teddy Bridgewater and frustrate him a little bit, just kind of get him on his toes. And that's what you have to do as a defense in order to win football games. You have to throw the quarterback off of his rhythm.
Who do you think performed the best this week for the Bears?
If I had to give a game ball to somebody, I'd probably either toss it up to Jeffrey or Marshall. I'll go with Marshall just for his 2 touchdown catches. It was nice to see him step up and play like Brandon Marshall again. Jay Cutler played well. Forte has always played well. I've been giving him a lot of game balls, though, so I'll give this one to Marshall. Yeah,
I think that's good. It's good that he responded. He's a guy who's created a lot of controversy around the Bears this week, and I think when you do that, if you don't step up, you're definitely going to be more of a distraction than you are a benefit. So Bears win. Let's kind of evaluate the post game, how the Bears rank within the NFL. Yahoo Sports, their power rankings, they've got the Bears 22nd in the NFL. If you remember last week, they were hovering around that 29 to 28 range among most power rankings. Pete Prisco from CBS Sports writes, "It's funny what Jay Cutler can do when the defense actually makes stops. Of course, that's never mentioned." He's got them 21st in the league, and Mark Mask of the Washington Post has them at 22nd in the NFL. So the Bears with the win. Let's look at how they stack up in the NFC North Division. Detroit and Green Bay, both atop the division at 7-3. Detroit, they're coming off a loss to Arizona, 14-6, and then Green Bay, their momentum keeps on building. They completely thrashed Philadelphia, 53-20. And then Chicago, they move into a tie for last place with Minnesota at 4-6 on the year. So how do you feel about how the division is stacking up and kind of what your expectations were coming into the year?
Coming into the year, I've been saying this a lot. I expected the Bears to be up there with the Lions and the Lions to be down with Minnesota. I mean, not exactly down with Minnesota, but I expected them to be around third place. So it's kind of frustrating, but after last week, I'm happy to see the Bears win. We're no longer alone in last place, and after this next coming week, I don't think we will be in last place at all because I don't foresee Minnesota even coming close to beating Green Bay, and I see Green Bay being first in the division after next week because I don't see Detroit going into Foxborough and beating Tom Brady either.
Yeah, absolutely. On the docket, Green Bay, they're traveling to Minnesota. Detroit, going in Gillette Stadium, they're going to be taking on New England, who's probably the best team in the NFL right now. And then moving on to...
I disagree with that. I think Arizona's the best team in the NFL right now.
Who would you pick head-to-head as the teams stand right now? Arizona
if we're talking in a Super Bowl game?
On a neutral site? Okay.
It's not a neutral site, though. It's in Arizona this year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, okay. That's a good point to make. But you have to
could you imagine Arizona making it to the Super Bowl at their own stadium? Has that ever happened? I've never looked it up, so I'm not sure.
That's a good question. We should figure that out. That's a good trivia question. But I don't know. I just have a lot of questions about Arizona's quarterback situation.
I think Drew Stanton proved a lot because Detroit's defense has been stellar this year. They've got a great front line. I think that Drew Stanton can get it done, and their defense is so good that he doesn't have to put a lot of points on.
You think Drew Stanton can lead them to the Super Bowl?
If Rex Grossman can take a team to a Super Bowl, then so can Drew Stanton.
Let's not. Every week we find a way to bring Rex Grossman into the podcast. Let's try not to do that. It's too many bad memories for me. Or too many. Oh, it's a mixed bag. But okay, New England, one of the best teams at least. You'll give
in the AFC. I think they're the best team.
Okay, all right, fair enough. And then moving on to Chicago's matchup this week, They're going to welcome back Lovie Smith and Tampa Bay into Soldier Field. Tampa Bay's 2-8 on the year. Chicago's 4-6. I don't see Tampa Bay being much of a threat to the Bears. What do you think?
I don't know, because Lovie Smith is going to have Tampa Bay ready to play, because you better believe he's going to want to beat the Bears. I mean, come on, dude. He's got to have a vendetta against the Bears. Just imagine the Bears cutting you from their team, and then you signing with another team. You would circle a game on your calendar if you were playing the Bears again, because you would want to be at your absolute best. And that's how Lovie Smith's going to want to have his players. He's going to want to have them at his absolute best. Do I think Tampa Bay's going to win this game? Probably not, but I'm not going to discount them and say the Bears are going to blow them out of the water.
I look at the Tampa Bay's team, and I don't see anything about this team that inspires confidence or anything that would give the Bears a threat. I think that Lovie Smith has shown with his tenure with Tampa Bay so far that he's as outdated as he was when he left the Bears. Even though he left on a 10-6 record, I don't think he's got the mental capability to draw up new schemes or adapt to the current NFL system, offensive-minded NFL.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I think that this game, it's not going to be a blowout, and you can't really overlook the fact how poorly the Bears played the last 3 weeks besides this last week. I mean, we played Minnesota. That's not really a win to cheer about.
I mean, this wasn't – I wouldn't even say that
change the season for us.
No, I think that's a good point to make, to keep in mind, keep in check, because the Bears, they had almost 500 yards of total offense, and they only came away with 21 points. And they didn't start off the game particularly well either. So Minnesota's not a very good team. If you're a team that had the expectation that the Bears had coming into the year, those are the teams that you have to beat, handedly. But the Bears, they struggled at times to even kind of come away with that one, even though, it looked like they might be able to run away with it.
Yeah, and by no means am I saying that Tampa Bay is a good team, or maybe even on Minnesota's level, but I think that Lovie Smith can have them prepared and fired up enough to be on Minnesota's level, because they're going to play so hard. Because if those players don't understand that this game means a lot to Lovie Smith, then they're just completely ignorant.
That's a good point. And they're going to need that type of motivation, because so far throughout the year, Tampa Bay has not looked particularly well in any facet of the game of football, on offense or defense. Offensively, they rank 25th in the NFL in points per game, and defensively, they're 30th. They're giving up about 28 points a game. The only team worse, one of the few teams worse than Tampa Bay defensively, is the team that they're kind of going in playing, the Bears, who are giving up 29 points a game. That's last in the NFL, even though they only allowed 13 this week. So that tells you about Chicago's defensive woes. Offensively, the Bears, 19th in the NFL in points per game. Andrew, tell me how you think the Bears can pull this one out. What are the key matchups, facets of the game that the Bears are going to have to exploit to win?
Well, like last week, the Bears, the wide receivers are going to have an edge over Tampa Bay's secondary. If we can get an edge and we can if we can get a rhythm going on offense, and we're going to have a easy time getting plays going on offense. Matt Forte got to get going on offense as well. Jay Cutler can't make mistakes, he's got to limit his dumb throws. The defense has to get pressure on the quarterback. It's just kind of it's the same stuff I've been spewing for the entire year. It's the same things that they did last week. If they do these things, they're going to beat Tampa Bay with no problem. I don't care how fired up Lovie Smith's team will be. We can easily outmatch this team, and if we don't, I won't be surprised, but I will be disappointed.
Yeah, I would not expect the Bears to lose this game, despite how poorly they performed over the course of the year. I look at a team that's led by Josh McCown. They've had they've put in Mike Lennon and Josh McCown. Neither's lit the world up on fire. Pretty anemic offensively. In the passing game, they haven't really performed particularly well. And the rushing game as well. They're running through a bunch of different running backs, and they don't even have 1,000 yards on the seed. Not even barely over 500. How do you think Tampa Bay could win this game? What do you think it's going to be the keys for them if they were to win?
They're going to have to establish a good rhythm on offense. They're going to have to find Mike Evans early and often. This guy's an absolute monster. Rookie out of Texas A&M. This guy is ridiculous. Had over 200 receiving yards last week in their win. And, Josh McCown, you could thank Mark Trestman for your contract that you received with Tampa Bay this year. I know Mark Trestman hasn't done a lot for players this year, but last year he kind of made Josh McCown into a pretty good quarterback.
And Alshon Jeffrey.
And Alshon
made Josh McCown.
Alshon Jeffrey made Josh McCown look good too, and Mike Evans is on his way to doing that too. Vincent Jackson, I mean, you can't really discount him either. He's always been a good receiver. But I mean, with Josh McCown and Lovie Smith running his offense, that's a step down from last year, even with Mark Trestman.
And
Bears fans right now, they hate Mark Trestman, but offensively, he is still better minded than Lovie Smith. There's no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. Lovie Smith is terrible offensively still. I mean, they still can't figure it out. And look at Doug Martin. Whatever happened to him? A couple of years ago, he had a great season, had about over 1,400 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns. This year, he's averaging over less than 3 yards a carry.
He's had injury problems since that rookie year.
And he's had offensive line problems as well. So the whole team, it's just there's so many different holes in it. I just can't help but see how the Bears could exploit it. And I would look for the Bears. Hopefully this can be a game that the Bears can exploit and really beat up on Tampa Bay and kind of propel themselves and give themselves some confidence, kind of trying to finish out the season strong.
Yeah, and I'm looking for a game where the Bears can execute from first kickoff to end of the game. They were pretty darn near close against Atlanta. They played pretty well against Atlanta. And why can't you do this against Tampa Bay this week is really my question. I mean, I think that this game should be won easily by the Bears. I don't know. It's that simple to me.
And what if the Bears lose this game? I think that if the Bears lose this game, imagine the outrage that you saw when the Bears were blown out by the Packers and New England. But this is a different scenario because this is a team that you should beat, that you're expected to beat. But if you're beaten by a team that's 2-8, offensively underperforms as much as Tampa does, I mean, what would the reaction be?
Well, feel free to disagree with me, but I think rock bottom was against Green Bay going down 42-0 at halftime. So if we lost this game to Tampa Bay, it wouldn't be rock bottom. But yeah, I mean, I'd probably laugh, honestly. I mean, what?
I can tolerate.
What else can you do?
But see, Green Bay is a better team than Chicago is. New England's a better team than Chicago is. I can understand those losses, even if they're blowouts.
I can't understand losing. I can't understand going down 42-0 against Green Bay. I'm sorry.
That's egregious. But I can see. I'm not mad that we lost to those teams, but I am disappointed with how we played. But if we lose to a team like Tampa Bay, how do you not get on the phone? How does Phil Emery not get on the phone and call Mark Trestman and say, "All right, you can go back to Canada now. Your services are no longer needed here in Chicago." How do you do that? How do you not do that?
How do you not do that?
How do you justify keeping Mark Trestman after this year if we lose to Tampa Bay?
Because Phil Emery in the front office and the ownership of the Bears is 100% behind Mark Trestman right now. It's going to take the Bears dropping multiple games this year, not just against Tampa Bay.
If the Chicago Bears played the QU Hawks football team and they lost, and with Mark Trestman coaching their team, would you? I mean, would you fire Mark Trestman then?
Are you really going to make me put down our football team?
No, our football team's great. We finished above 500 for the year. They're a good team. But I'm saying...
But it's Division II college football.
If they lost to a Division II college football team, how do you... would they still keep Mark Trestman around? That's my question.
I'm not going to grace that with a response because that's the most asinine question you've ever asked me, along with the one last week about if the Bears somehow go on a run and they win a Super Bowl.
All right, I'm just saying Mark Trestman somehow has indoctrinated Phil Emery. I don't know what they do up in Canada. I don't know what type of hypnosis they use, but something's happened because Mark Trestman, he's got to go if we lose. I would fire Mark Trestman if we lost this game. That's how bad I am. That's how the state of the Bears are right now to me.
If you say so. I mean, I can't. I can't agree or disagree with that. I've not really thought about that. I'm just telling you it's not going to happen. So
I'm just saying I would make some moves here. It's a decision.
You would fire Mark Trestman before you would fire Mel Tucker?
I'm saying when I would fire Mark Trestman, everyone goes. I'm talking about the whole coaching staff. They're all gone.
Listen, at least the special teams coach and the defensive coach, Mel Tucker, they're gone after this year.
Oh, they're gone. They're gone. Absolutely. And if we,
but I think we're giving Cuddy another shot with Trestman next year. I don't see us not. I don't see it not happening.
They're interconnected. Mark Trestman and Jay Cutler. It's kind of a romantic relationship because they need each other.
It's a bromance.
More than a bromance.
It's a bromance.
It's a quarterback coach relationship that is ascended bromance. It's odd. They need each other to justify their contracts at this point. Because Mark Trestman is kind of the Jay Cutler whisperer, if you will.
No.
That's how I interpret the relationship right now. That's how Phil Emery sees Mark Trestman. Because I don't think Phil Emery wants to get rid of Mark Trestman because he doesn't want to give Jay Cutler another new quarterback.
Do you think that the only reason that the Bears are keeping Mark Trestman is because they believe that he's the only one that can do something with Jay Cutler?
I think so. I think that's the biggest thing right there.
I mean, I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. Bruce Arians, that would have been my hire. That's all I'm saying.
What could have been that? Looking in hindsight, but who would have? I mean, would you have said that?
Yeah, I was saying that last time, dude. Mark Trestman's coached the CFL. That doesn't give you head coach. That doesn't make you knowledgeable for NFL games. I mean, it's completely different.
But he coached Rich Gannon.
I don't care.
All right, so let's get on to this Tampa Bay game. I want you to give me a prediction, give me a concrete score. How are the Bears going to handle this one at home?
I think the Bears are going to win this game 27-14.
All right. I'm rolling the dice on this one. I want big money. I'm spinning the wheel. And I want big money, no whammies, all that good stuff. This better be a blowout.
It sounds like where you're going that you're probably either getting lose a turn or bankrupt.
Well, Mark Trestman is going to go bankrupt if he doesn't win this game. I'm going to go 48.
What?
Hold on. I'm not done. The Bears 48, Tampa Bay 20.
Have the Bears even scored 48 points in their last 3 games?
Maybe. Let's see. 21. Let's calculate that. So they've last week against Minnesota.
They have.
No.
They have.
I want to get a concrete answer.
They have. They scored 23 against New England. They scored 14 against the Patriots, and they scored 21 against Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah, 21.
I don't care though.
So absolutely they have. They're about to match that.
That doesn't
output.
matter to me. They scored 23 garbage time points against New England. They scored 14 garbage time points against the Pack. Okay, well the 23 points against New England were garbage time. They scored a touchdown that wasn't garbage time. So that makes 16 points of garbage time. All 14 points against the Packers were garbage time. And then against Minnesota, they had 21 legit points. So they've had 28 legitimate points when both teams were playing balls to the wall on offense and defense. I don't want to hear the fact that you seriously think the Bears are going to score 48 points this week. Are you kidding?
48.
Kidding?
48. How do you say it in Spanish?
I don't know. I didn't take Spanish, but that's ridiculous. 48 points.
Cuatre.
I don't think Jay Cutler's even able to throw for
48
4 or
points.
5 touchdowns, honestly.
Matt Forte. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say 49.
You think we're going to score 7 touchdowns?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. Are you kidding me?
Let's see. I'm looking for a big game here. Jay Cutler, I would say about 5 touchdowns passing.
How many interceptions?
Probably about 4 interceptions.
What?
But we'll get him back. Matt Forte, he'll go for about 3 rushing touchdowns.
Is this Madden or real life football?
Well, I simulated this last night in Madden. This is exactly how it went, so I'm going with it. And Matt Forte is going to get 3 rushes because typical Trestman game plan. And he's going to get 3 touchdowns on those. So, or 2, sorry, because we need 7 touchdowns.
I can't take you seriously right now. I'm sorry. I cannot take you seriously.
If this game's not a big blowout, I'll be very disappointed. Mark Trestman's got to show me he's a killer. He's got to look at Lovie Smith and say, this guy, show him why they got rid of Lovie Smith for an 8-8 coach, apparently.
But he's not like that. He won't even put blame on his players when they lose. What makes you think he's going to go out and say, all right, we got to put the dagger in these guys?
Exactly.
He doesn't have a killer instinct. That's why the Bears aren't going to win 49 to whatever you said.
49 to 20 was the prediction.
If they're going to win, they're going to win by somewhere near my score, probably.
No. I don't want ugly win. I don't want to.
It's not an winning 27-14 is not an ugly win.
It's not good enough for Tampa Bay. They're 2-8. They got destroyed.
The Bears are 4-6. Are you serious? Really? You're going to go there?
Atlanta was 4-6, and they destroyed Tampa Bay like 56-0.
Yeah, but that was when Atlanta was playing well. That was at the beginning of the year.
49-20.
49-20.
49-20.
49-20.
You heard it here first.
Bears fans, please comment on how ridiculous that sounds when this goes out on Wednesday.
That's right. Well, they'll show support. They know what's up.
For me, they will.
No.
49-20?
All right, everyone, bear down.
I don't think the Bears can score 40 points in a game.